Hi, sorry for the windy noise here, but I wanted to share what I came back to after being a week away on vacation to the garden. And fall has definitely arrived. So right now we're coming up onto mid-October, and the colors of the trees, I just am blown away by their beauty. So fall is one of my favorite seasons. And look at that, look at those trees, like that red, orange, green mixed in, and it's just breathtaking. Like I looked outside, saw this amazing view, and just had to share it. So it's just gorgeous. It's a cloudy, overcast day. Normally we can see the mountains off in the distance, but the clouds are kind of blocking it. But you know, it's so atmospheric this time of year, so it's nice to have summer, but it's also so nice to have this kind of weather as well. It's just so awesome having, you know, the four seasons. So just look at that view, and off in the distance there's, right about there, that's the Fraser River in the next town over. But with respect to the garden, you can see like our grass, we were on water restrictions, so our grass was totally brown, and with the rain that's come, it's just completely greened up. Looks like it's about ready to be cut soon. So this is just like an overview of the back garden here, and you can see our trees. So we've got a pear tree, a cherry tree, it's a combined apple tree, and that's a plum tree. We don't actually get plums on that anymore, I think, because there's no other plum tree nearby, but it's a great privacy screen. But it just bushes out like an insane amount, and then they're deciduous, which is fine because in the winter we don't really go out back there too much, but in the summer it's a wonderful screen. It just gets crazy. It requires a lot of trimming back to keep it under control. And you know, our fence blew down last year, so we're still in the process of dealing with that situation, but we do have a border garden here along the side, and you can still see there are some cosmos, some snapdragons, there's some hydrangeas in there, some roses. So calendula is that bright orange one there. So I gotta get back there and do some cutting back at some point. You can see some dried up echinacea there. And I have this little succulent planter there that used to be a bird bath that got damaged and had a hole in it, so I turned it into a succulent planter. We have a back row garden here, which has that wonderful autumn joy sedum. There's some hellebores back there, some dusty miller, some heuchera. So I have some black pearl heuchera. There's some carex grass back there. There's a couple of lilacs, and the lilacs have turned, the leaves have turned this reddish color, and those look pretty amazing as well. Then we have, I call this the shed bed here. There's some hydrangeas in there. That's like the little lime punch that's standing out. There's Winecraft Gold, or Winecraft Black smoke bush there. Behind it is some lady's mantle. There's some brunnera there. So that's kind of a part shade bed. I just love it. And in this little bed here, we have Miss Sayori. Miss Sayori is the hydrangea there. And we have some Amsonia, the storm cloud, and you can see their autumn color. So they were green all season, and they've brightened up to this reddish, yellowish, orangey color. So it's amazing just seeing that fall color on them as well. They kind of die back during the winter, so you think there's nothing there, and in the spring you'll start seeing shoots come up, which is super exciting. And then I have a center garden bed, and it looks like the grass is kind of growing, so it needs to be edged again. But there we have a Gertrude Jekyll rose in the center. That's kind of the star of the show. It's totally overgrown, it's trellis, so it probably needs to be cut back. Behind it, I've got that Miss Sayori hydrangea, again, one of my absolute favorite hydrangeas. It looks like it's doing really well back there. I've got some peonies behind there. I've got some mock orange on either side that I'm probably gonna move. Looks like there's some late blooming cosmos there. And there was some bachelor buttons, some snapdragons. There was some impatiens. But yeah, it looks like all of that needs to be kind of cleared up a little bit for fall. And just slowly gonna swing over to this way. So there I've got 2 hydrangeas in pots, and those pots, the hydrangeas have turned like this pinkish color. They were white all season, and then in the colder weather they turn to this dusty pink. And yeah, so here you see the little lime punch again. I've got some penstemon. This is penstemon here, so it got some height. There's some Brunnera. This is the dwarf Alberta spruce. I had this one established a little bit longer, and I put this one in this year. Just took it out of a pot it had outgrown and kind of have, you know, somewhat symmetrical there. I'm not totally into symmetry. I don't like that, but I do want, you know, some kind of cohesiveness, a repetition. And then this bed here, this area is the area that kind of floods when it rains. So this wall is eventually going to get taken out and replaced. It's our neighbor's wall, so we can't really do much right now with that. Here we have a rose. It's the Generous Gardener. It's kind of wild, but you can see it has some hips growing here. But I'm excited to cut that back and see it reflush next year. So this, because the fence is gone, it is a sunnier area. When the fence gets put back up and the wall gets repaired, it might have to get moved, but until then it's fine. You can see our hostas have put on their fall color. They're just turning this yellow color, then eventually either I'll have to cut them back or they'll die back. And then we have a bobo hydrangea here. There's some ajuga ground cover, which is spreading out nicely, which is what I wanted. That's the burgundy glow ajuga. Here is a whirlwind white anemone. And here we still have some impatiens going. So they haven't been nipped back, these pink ones, by the cold weather yet, but I'm expecting that will probably happen pretty soon. Here I've got some carex. There were more of them, but they just don't seem to survive here. I keep replacing them. There's some weeding that needs to get done there, but all in due course. So anyways, that is just a quick look at the fall garden in the backyard. Just those gorgeous colors. And of course we have the borrowed view of these beautiful trees back here. There's like a school back there, and I think those trees belong to that school. So it's just an amazing view to wake up to, and I just love those fall colors. Something to be said about every season, and fall definitely has its benefits as well. And you can see the leaves are starting to fall there, and grass is very lush. There's moss in the grass as well. And just like a quick look, I do have like kind of a garden bed here, which is a bobo hydrangea right there. There's a few things in there. And I've got these 3 boxwood beds with a boxwood in each of those, or sorry, 4 of those that I had rescued, those boxwoods that were just gonna go into the trash, so I rescued them and made those 3. And here we have my Club Clematis. So that's the autumn clematis that I had shown in a different video, and you can see it's still going strong. Alright, so I just wanted to give a quick update. When I saw this view, I just had to share it, and hopefully it'll be a nice contrast to a video I'll hopefully take next year to see what changes, what stays the same. So there's a lot of changes that will be happening in this garden at some point, including the wall being replaced, fences being replaced. So it's exciting to kind of know that there are going to be those big changes here. And just I wanted to show quickly, you know, without intruding on my neighbors too much, but my back neighbors there on the diagonal, they had a fence here, and they've just put in these, I believe they're green giants. The green giant trees, arborvitae maybe, I'm not really sure, but that used to be a fence, so they put that in as a privacy screen. So it'll be really interesting to see how that does. Of course, they've got beautiful trees and a beautiful garden as well. This is a cherry tree similar to ours, so it'll be nice to see, like, when that grows up, it'll block the view of this house, which, you know, it's nice to have. We get along great with our neighbors, but it's nice to have that privacy as well. So that'll be nice, and glad they did that. I don't think it'll impact my garden at all, because it is on a diagonal, but yeah, so that's very nice that they did that, and I'm looking forward to seeing that grow up as well. Anyways, one last view of the garden. It's beautiful colors of fall. Love this season. So happy October and happy fall, everyone. So I rewatched my video and I could see that it was a little bit too far away to see any details from overview from up above. So I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough and do a bit more of a close-up on some of these plants. So here we have a bloodgood Japanese maple bed, and there's hostas underneath. I think I previously misidentified this hosta in another video, but this is actually a water slide proven winners hosta. It has beautiful lavender blooms, and look at that touch of gold appearing. This one's pretty much fully done for the season, so that definitely needs to be cut back. Honestly, normally I just leave them and I just let them die and don't do anything, but I think you probably should cut them back. But in any event, I usually just leave them, to be honest, if I'm going to be totally honest. And this is an honest tour. You can see all the weeds in here. But anyways, there's I think this is a wild rose heuchera in here. These two plants are called cutting edge. I think they're a foam flower. And then back there, I believe that's a peach berry ice. I just love this really simple bed here. And turning down, here I've got an azalea that was just put in this year. It had beautiful blooms, bright pink, just a great pop of color in this more shady side. And these are first year echinacea in this bed. This bed I just cleaned out and put as a placeholder because this wall is eventually going to be gone, this retaining wall. So I just wanted some color in there, and you can see the cosmos are in there going strong, and it's October 10th and these cosmos are still going for it. So it's pretty crazy. I think I'm going to take some seeds, and they just come back every year, and they're just such a bright, cheery, carefree wildflower. I just love that kind of whimsical look of them. Here I've got some ajuga burgundy glow, such nice colors in that one. There's some echinacea there, and this is gray sword lithodaria, and that looks wonderful in spring when it blooms with like these purple flowers. Clearly that echinacea is gone over. And just turning here, so there's a hosta I transplanted a little bit earlier, and it's gone over. And this is a type of willow here, a salix, and the lithodaria I was mentioning earlier, that it blooms purple flowers. So there's one right there, you can see. Isn't it beautiful? That's a cosmo petal behind it, but you can see the color there. And here's a better example of that gray sword lithodaria. So it's prolific in spring, the blooms, but it's still rebloomed in October, so that's wonderful. Here we have a Arctic Fire red twig dogwood there. This is a camellia. I think it's called Taylor's Perfection Camellia. And you can see that hosta is also brightened up. Got its fall colors on there. This one looks really bad. And you know, you're probably wondering why there's cardboard down there. So the cardboard is there to just smother out the grass, because I did a no-till system for here, and this bed is in development, so don't judge me too harshly. Here we have lamium. There's that burgundy glow ajuga, some more echinacea. And turning here, I do have, this is an elderberry, black lace elderberry. Didn't put on much growth this year, so that might not be the best place for it, but it's first year, so I'm just gonna leave it be. And then this is also a willow. This is a very waterlogged area, so I think the willows do well here. I've got some hostas I did transplant. This was a new one I put in this year, proven winners variety, and this is one I transplanted. That's a drinking gourd, so yeah, I think they'll come in strong next year. And you can see my ajuga has really taken over here, which is what I wanted. I want it to kind of get ground cover and choke out the weeds. Here's my generous gardener rose. I was mentioning it was getting rose hips, so I'll do like a little bit of a close-up on those for you. I think they will turn a brighter color as time goes on. And yeah, I think this is one of my favorite hydrangeas, probably my second favorite. It's the Bobo hydrangea, and you can see that pink color. You've got the dark pink, you got the light pink. It kind of starts, it's mostly white in the summer, and then it goes to these gorgeous tones. Isn't that beautiful? And it stays relatively compact, so it's one I definitely recommend. I've got this nice heuchera here. I think that one's called Saturn. Has smaller leaves and just interesting variation on color on there. This is a different type of ajuga that snuck in there. We've got some impatiens. Here is a close-up of that anemone called the Whirlwind. And if you watch Hooked and Rooted with Steph, she's on the other side of the continent, and she's got the same one. It does well for her, so it does well here in the Pacific Northwest as well. There's still that red impatient there, that bright pink one. So those are annuals, so those will die out at some point. Here I've got my dwarf Alberta spruce. There's that hosta, and like these hostas look really bad right now, but they come back so strong and they're so gorgeous throughout the season. This wonderful impatient here that just is doing amazing. Here's still some astilbe that was a wonderful dark pink purple color one in spring, and now it's kind of just left it on for winter interest. Here's another anemone. This is the Fall in Love Sweetly anemone with the pink flowers. It's backed up by some more impatiens back there, some more burgundy glow. And this is Pulmonaria, Spot On. Looks wonderful in the spring, so it's so nice to have spring color as well. It's nice to have something that blooms like all seasons. Here is the hydrangeas and pots I have. You can see the leaves are putting on their fall color. The blooms have taken on this kind of pinky tone. Just swinging around to the other one here, so you can see that. You know, they get a little bit neglected because they're in pots and they don't have the same access to water, but they're looking pretty good. And then just flipping around, so here we have the penstemon I had mentioned earlier. So I don't cut them back, I just leave them. And you can see these really interesting seed heads. Look at that, just so interesting. So I just leave those and I don't cut them back. I think they're just fascinating the way they are. Here I've got a cherry truffles, coral bells. There's some more wispy type of astilbe here that are white. And actually, I just saw this for the first time, that looks like my penstemon did rebloom. So that's nice to see. I think this one is called Onyx and Pearls. And you can see it's, you know, dark foliage, and the pearls are kind of that light lavender colored floral color there. And then I love this little lime punch. Like the color of these in fall, it's so vibrant. Look at that, so vibrant, that color, love it. And I have a Brunnera here that's not doing so well, but the one like just, you know, a couple feet away, it's doing so much better. So I don't know what's going on there. I might have to move that one if I can have it survive. And I'm just gonna flip over here to show you. This is another little Bobo hydrangea, like the one I just showed you, and it's it likes the spot. It's doing really well, and look how floriferous it is. Like the blooms, so many blooms on there. Isn't that crazy? I love this. Love this. Here's another cherry truffles right there, coral bells. And this one is what is that name? Okay, it's escaping me, but I'll think of it and I'll let you know what that is. Just going blank there for a second. Here I have some catmint in this bed. There's another hosta in this corner here, and there's more catmint back there. This is a Himalayan sweet box, so that's pretty nice. And look, you can see like the seed heads on this plant. Just leave them, and then there's a little bloom there. Isn't that nice? And so as I mentioned, these are 4 boxwoods that I rescued that were gonna just not survive. So I transplanted them here and hope for the best. It's kind of a shady spot. It gets a few hours of sun in the afternoon, but they're pretty much consistent with a little bit of variation. But that wild rose heuchera is doing great. There's some blue mouse ears hosta hiding in here, and some shade plants. There's I think it's called Jacob's ladder. Anyways, there's also some planters here that are just for privacy, kind of delineating the space. Here's another not a penstemon, a pulmonaria. And there's the little blue mouse ears and a nice weed there, and some other plants, astilbe and such. And walking over here, you can still see some blooms, which is nice to see, you know, some delicate little flowers. So nice. And over here is that sweet autumn clematis. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of a closer up view of this so you can see it. Look at that. Oh, so gorgeous. Sweet autumn clematis. And I've got this boxwood in a pot that's doing wonderfully. Here, this is the same plant from the other side, that corner and this corner, which I couldn't think of the name of. It'll come to me. But that plant has just vibrant, beautiful flowers, and the pollinators just love it. This is a little lime hydrangea, and you can see the color on that. It was a white most of the season, and now it's put on its fall color. Little lime hydrangea, love that one. Got a peony here. So this one, it's not looking great, this one, but it does well during the year, so I'm gonna leave it. This is a peony. This plant, I can't remember what it is. I actually don't even remember if I planted it, but yeah, the leaves look so interesting, and I'm kind of curious to see what that is, if that's a fern, type of fern, but we'll see. And look at this beauty here. This beauty, I believe, is it's one of the newer proven winner ones, and it's the smaller one, so maybe a tidbit. But anyways, look at that color. It's just so vibrant. I mean, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And another peony. I think that's a peachberry ice or a mahogany monster, can't remember. Another peony. This one I think is called a peacock hydrangea. It's got black stems. There's some astilbe tucked in there. And this is one of the mountain hydrangeas. I think it's tough stuff. That one is a proven winners type. Just another peony, which are glorious in the season. And here are some older varieties of hydrangea that actually my sister put in, and they're a variation of, I think one is called Love, and the other ones, I'm not sure what they're called, but they get massive bloom heads. And you can see the variation, they're like a deep purple, they have bluish tones in there, pink tones. Look at this one here. And this one especially, I think it's the oldest one, and it gets just massive blooms, like size of my nephew's head. All right, and there's areas of the garden I'm a little bit, you know, reluctant to show you, but hey, real life gardening here. So this one needs a little bit of work, but this corner dies out completely in the winter, so you think there's nothing there, but there's astilbe in there, there's hosta in there, there's lady's mantle, and it just comes back, and it's amazing during the season. And this black, ignore this black plastic, it's edging that kind of haven't gotten around to putting away or doing anything with. Here's a camellia here, more lady's mantle here. This is an azalea. This is pincushion flower that's gone over and just leaving it for seed heads. There's that burgundy glow ajuga, peonies, butterfly bushes that have gone over. This is a clematis or clematis. And that one is Viva Polonia, which is proven winners, and it has beautiful big flowers. It's underplanted with that ajuga as well as a monarda. I think it's called Pardon My Cherise. And there's some alliums in there as well. And if I do a quick turn, I can show you this little planter here. It's a very boggy area, so I had to kind of lift it up by putting in this raised bed to have anything survive there. But this tree is a lilac standard, and it has the most magnificent blooms when it's in flower, and the smell is just amazing. And I've underplanted it with this gorgeous clematis, which you can see this is the seed heads. This is the flower, and it's October 10th and there's a flower on it, so look at the colors on there. Isn't that variation just stunning? Stunning. Love it. This is the tag I've left on so you can see what this is. Dwarf Korean lilac, and it's, like I said, amazing smell. It's nice to have a standard. You can put more things in your garden that way. And I'll just show you. This is the clematis I just showed you. It's called the Vagabond. Highly, highly recommend. Instead of like one color, it's got that variation. It's just gorgeous. So this is a work in progress, but some highlights I can show you. There's a pincushion flower with its seed heads. This is called a baby Kim lilac, so I'm excited to see how that does next year. It's just put in this year. Now this was kind of a gardening fail. Well, an experiment, let's call it an experiment. So that is a limelight prime, which I expected to get quite big. And these are Pugster blue butterfly bushes, which I thought would stay smaller. So it kind of had the opposite effect. Like this was supposed to be the dramatic piece in the center, flanked by these two. And it's kind of that the butterfly bushes are the stars of the show with their size. And yeah, so we'll see next year if that limelight prime grows to its full potential. If not, might have to do some shuffling around, because it was supposed to be like a trio of dense planting here and cover the fence in this corner here. I do have some peonies here as well, and some alliums. There's also like a balloon flower in there, which you can't see right now. There's a baby Kim. This one is a trellis that has some 3 different types of clematis. It also had sweet peas growing up it, so it's kind of gone over. But here's calendula, which is still going for it, and you can actually collect seeds. So this is a seed pod for a sweet pea. This one is a calendula seed pod, and you can actually collect these. They're quite easy to collect, and they're very prolific, so you can get a lot of seeds. This one is called Green Heart Orange. This, I believe, is a giant weed growing here, which will have to eventually be taken care of, but I'm gonna leave it for now. We had I just want to show you this cucumber. Look at that, growing right through the fence there, right through the trellis. Yeah, didn't do so great with the cucumbers, not the best at vegetables. Tomato plant just kind of going over there. And yeah, this looks like a butterfly bush, has self-seeded itself here, and this was a different variety that I think I took out, but it's self-seeded, so probably we'll have to take that out, because butterfly bushes, other than the sterile ones, are kind of invasive here in the Pacific Northwest on the coast. So probably we'll remove that one, or else it'll take over. I have no idea what this plant is. It just showed up, and I didn't plant it. I think it might be a broccoli, but I don't see any kind of floret in there, so no idea, but leave it. I'm a messy gardener, as you can see. Just leave things the way they are. So this bed is kind of my mom's vegetable bed. So there's a variety of things in here, like strawberries, There's some tomato plants in there. This is coriander, which is used a lot in Indian cooking. So that's the green coriander seeds that have not quite ripened. And these are the brown ones. And that's the one that are harvested kind of as coriander seeds to be used. And you can save those and plant them in spring and they'll be coriander. You can grow coriander from them. Here we have a rose. This was supposed to be a Zephyrine Druin rose, but I'm not sure if it is because the flowers don't seem to be the right color. They're more red than pink, but in any event, I thought I'd give it one more season to see what happens. Like I said, there was a fence here, so that eventually will have a fence again. We have a bobo hydrangea on there, another bobo, a bobo there. So I'm kind of embarrassed showing you this messy garden, but at the same time, this is real life. And this is coming back to the garden after a week away on vacation, and it's just, nothing has been done, nothing has been touched to prepare for this showing. Here's a lavender here. These are snapdragons that self-seeded. Here, my dahlias were kind of a fail this year. They just stayed small all season. And for some reason now they have just put out their buds and flowers. This is the first time this dahlia plant has bloomed, and it's pretty much the end of the season. So I don't know why that is. It's kind of funny how that happened, but it's still beautiful nonetheless. I think I do have to dig out these tubers to save them because it is so wet here that they rot. But yeah, sometimes I just buy them and treat them as annuals, but I'm glad to see some blooms on them. Here we have some cosmos that have gone over that I'll be collecting the seed from. There's a rose bush there that I transplanted to this location. Here we have pincushion flower, one of my favorites. Pincushion flower is still blooming. Look at that big gorgeous color. It's lovely. Look at that. This is a short-lived perennial, so you have to replant it every few years. But so beautiful, worth it. This is a Cheyenne sky. I think it's called Cheyenne sky. And that's an echinacea. So you can see it's usually a variety of colors. This one is more on the warm tones, the red color. And look at that. Look at that cone. It's like almost red. It has like a red tone to it. I just don't even want to cut those back because I feel like I should leave them for the critters and winter interest. This is a plant that I just put in last year, and I believe it's a Weigela, type of Weigela. And I think it's called, let's see if I'm right. Yes, Midnight Wineshine. Midnight Wineshine Dwarf Weigela, which is nice. It stays compact, and I can't wait to see the flowers on that in the spring. It's hard to see, but this is a hydrangea, or not a hydrangea, sorry, a dahlia that I put there. And cat's pajamas, Nepeta there. Here is a Amsonia storm cloud. Still some tomatoes, trying to go for it. This year is Nephofia. Some roses. This is my sister's plantings here. Some lavender. The black pearl heuchera, one of my faves. This is that planter that it was a succulent planter. So this used to be a bird bath, and then the bowl cracked. So instead I decided to try this year to put some succulents in there that I believe are winter hardy. That's the hope, and we'll see how this does, because I didn't want to just throw it away. You know, I think if you can reuse, recycle, upcycle, then that's usually the best thing we can do. And hopefully these gorgeous succulents will survive the winter here. And just under the tree, I'm going to swing around to the bed under the tree here and just show you some highlights. I know this video is going to get really long, but there's so much detail to show. This is the lilac. This is Miss Kim lilac with its fall colors. This is Dusty Miller. There's some hellebores back there, some carex, Dusty Miller again, some mahogany monster heuchera dotted throughout. It's a little hard to see because the color matches the dirt or the mulch. And there are some asters here, Some bright heuchera. And there's the black pearl here. Black pearl heuchera. Some hellebores. This is a salvia that's totally gone over. More carex. Here's the autumn joycetum here. So it's kind of normally this more brighter pink, but as it ages, the blooms kind of turn a little bit darker color. So this is always like so great to see, because in the spring it's like one of the first things that pop out of the ground, and it's that bright chartreuse color. And then it's just like a stalwart in the garden. And I do want to, probably will divide that and spread it out in more places. The dusty mailer really brightens up the spot underneath the canopy of the trees, like it's a shade bed. So it's really nice. That was supposed to be an annual for us, and I bought it, I think 50 cents a pot, and like a couple years ago in October, thinking, yeah, there's no way it's gonna come back, and boom, it comes back every year. So there you go. It's supposed to be an annual for us, but it's not. Here's that blue color as well in this blue fescue grass. I think it's called Elijah Blue. Some more plants there. This is a lilac as well, Miss Kim, that we already saw. You can see there's a hosta back there, Francis William, I think it's called, and it's put on its seed heads. Seed pods there. Look at that. There we go. So I probably should cut that back, but honestly, probably won't. This area under the tree, I eventually have plans to make this into a secret garden. Right now it's just kind of like a mess, because you don't see it, like nobody sees it when you're coming into the garden or from the windows. It's kind of like a dumping ground area, but I do have plans for it in the future at some point. But the plants I have put in, there's like a fern back there, the pulmonaria, which is again, like I love pulmonaria. They're just so great in spring. The brooms are amazing. There's some hostas that have gone over, and then perfect for fall is the pumpkin spice, Eucharella. And you know, look at this amazing Brunnera, just like a star. Again, amazing blooms in spring. Little blue flowers that float above it, like so ethereal. Here's that Winecraft Gold Smoke Bush. And I haven't put it in a full sun spot, so I think it'll stay smaller, because it's supposed to get quite big, but I just like it this size, and if it gets bigger, great. If not, that's okay too. I'm just competing with the roots of these trees under here. And here's a lady's mantle, some impatiens, some more pincushion flowers, a stilby. This pot is supposed to be a Limelight Prime in there. I'm thinking it might have been mislabeled, but I don't know. It's allegedly a Limelight Prime. And this shed bed, Amsonia again. Little lime punch. Look at that color. There's a little fern in there. Again, I have to show you this little lime punch. Look at that. Look at that color. And this is only like its first year, really, so it's gonna get thicker and more established, but just beautiful. I'm just coming on to the end here, so I'm hoping you enjoyed the close-ups of these plants, and hopefully this tour is not too long. Here's some verbena, that's an annual. Some flopped over pincushion flower here. All right. So in the fall garden, there's a lot to do in the fall garden, but there's also so much beauty. So October 10th, so much beauty still in the garden, and I just love seeing it. Coming back from a week away, it's almost like it's a whole new garden. Everything has changed so much. And that's really the joy of gardening, isn't it? To be able to take these walks and find these little new discoveries. The lush grass, it's just like everything has had its drink, and the colors are turning. So here's to autumn.